Hi, I'm Molly and welcome to Reads with Tea, my YouTube channel where I drink tea and read books and talk about them, so stick around and we'll have some fun. Oh, I might have moved that a little bit. Okay, it's fine. We'll fix that in editing. Hello my fellow book reading lovelies, what is up? Welcome back to another episode. It is a beautiful Sunday morning, not a cloud in the sky. We're drinking some Earl Grey tea on the porch and the nature is making some loud noises, so please bear with me, and I'm very sorry if the birds are annoying because they're annoying me too. They're very angry today. So yeah, hopefully I'll find a better place to film, but for now it's outside, so terribly sorry. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this book, Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. It is the second book in the Dark Artifices series, so if you haven't read the first one, go read it. Normally I think I would do a little summary without spoilers, but because this is the second book, I don't know that I can do that without giving away stuff from the first book, so I'm just gonna say go read the first book. I made a video about it, and that does have a non-spoiler summary section, so go watch that first. And again, just as a little disclaimer, if you have not read the other Shadowhunter novels, do that first. I think in my last video I said to read the Mortal Instruments first and then the Infernal Devices, but I have been informed by my local Cassandra Clare stan that that is wrong, and that you should actually read them in publishing order. So I'm going to try and include either a link in the description of the publishing order that you should read them in, or I'm just going to make a list myself of all the books in publishing order so you know how to read them. But yeah, so if you have not read this book, if you have not read the first book, go read the first book. If you have not read this book, go read this book. And yeah, if you have, stick around. If you haven't, please, not to be rude, but please leave. You're just gonna spoil the book for yourself, and I'm going to actually start talking about the end, so it's gonna be really big spoilers, so please exit. Click the exit buttons on your screen. I don't know where they are, but yeah, I'll wait for you to leave.
One hour later.
I'm not gonna do that again. I don't know why I did that. That made me feel like one of those teachers who's like, I'll wait until the class is quiet, and all the kids are like, nobody cares. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. That was weird. Anyways, I just want to talk about this book. Now, in my last video, I'm pretty sure I said that I could not wait to feel that heart-aching feeling that I knew this book was gonna give me. But this is not what I meant, and nobody warned me that I was going to be emotionally devastated at the end. I felt destroyed, I felt shocked. I had to reread the last 15 pages 3 times because I was in such bad denial. I was like, no. Like, that couldn't have happened. That's not, no. Like, I must be reading this wrong. Something else must be going on here. Like, Julian has to have a plan. But no, Livy died. And I genuinely, so after I finished it for the first time, my heart was beating so fast and my hands were shaking, and I'm just like rereading it like, no. And then I had to just lay down in my bed for 10 minutes and stare at the ceiling to just kind of calm myself. And then I filmed this little clip of me being literally speechless right after I finished it, so enjoy. Hi, okay. I don't have any words. So I'm probably gonna just add this in to whatever video I end up making for this book review, because I just finished it. I like don't even have words. That was devastating. Like, that was awful. I'm about to cry. That was, I don't know, I'm just so sad. I know I'm smiling, but that's because I need to not cry. But oh my god. That was bad. That was like it was good, but it was bad. And none of my friends have read this book yet, so I can't even talk to them about it. I'm gonna cry. I need to read the next one, but I already checked, and it's checked out at my library, so I think I'm just gonna end up buying it because I can't have another day where I like don't know what happens. I don't know. I'm stressed. And I'm like I need to go to sleep, and I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep now because I'm just gonna be thinking about the ending and obsessing over and over and over again. That was awful. Yeah, that was really bad. Okay, well, now that I'm depressed, it's time to go to sleep. So again, I was clearly unwell. I was, again, literally speechless. And then after this, I was like, I have to talk to someone. So I tried texting my two friends, but neither of them have read this book. So I was like, this isn't helping. One of them just started City of Bones, so I was like, she has so much farther to go before we can talk about this. But luckily, I remembered one of my friends is a big Cassandra Clare fan, so I called her and we talked for about an hour. But even after that, I could not fall asleep for another hour or two. So this book literally kept me up at night. So thank you and congratulations to Cassandra Clare for writing what is simultaneously the best and worst character death I've ever read. And I think it's the best because it was probably the most well-written character death I've ever read, but it was also the worst because it made me feel awful. And I feel as though I've been personally victimized by Cassandra Clare, so thanks again. But no, I'm serious though. This was really probably the best character death I've ever read. Definitely the most devastating, probably the most shocked I've been. And I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that and why I think that is, because I have been thinking about this for a while. So I think most of it is because you really start to see more of Livy's character, and again, I think in my last video I was like, I want to see more of Livy. I would like to see a little bit more of her character. Bitch, you thought? No. But really, so I think it was page 333, when Livy goes to Julian and she's telling him that she and the other siblings now know what he was doing, how he was running the institute, how he was keeping Arthur's illness a secret, and that really like sweet moment where she says, I'm not angry with you, none of us are angry with you, but I just want to tell you that like you're my role model, that I want to be more like you when I get older, that I want to care for people the way that you cared for us, that I hope to run my own institute. And I think just hearing more about Livy's character and her hopes and dreams make her death at the end so much worse, because now you know that she has goals for her future and it's a future that she's never going to get to see. So that was rough. And yeah, and when I was reading this, I wrote that down, that I was like, oh, what a sweet moment. Not sweet. Not sweet. And then on that same page, you also have the quote that's Julian remembering what it was like when she was little and how she would like follow him around and say, Julian, Julian, carry me. And then you have on the last page when Julian's holding her in his arms, he has that same memory of the little girl saying, Julian, Julian, carry me. So I thought that was a really good full circle quote. So I liked that. And then speaking of full circle quotes, when you have Kit and Livy talking about Idris, I think that's how you say it, I'm not really sure. and Kit says, oh, I like the clock, and then Livy says there's a legend about the clock. For a second, when it chimes the hour, the gates to heaven open. And then, the very last sentence of this book, high above the council hall, the golden clock began to chime the hour. Which I guess is sweet in the sense that it implies that Livy has gone to heaven, but it's also upsetting because Livy has also said, as far as I'm concerned, heaven is just the Institute being ours again and all of us going home. And she doesn't get to go home. Yeah, so a very upsetting death in that sense. But I think I was also so upset because I was shocked, because it was something that I really didn't expect. And first of all, I had no clue that it was going to end like this. Like, no one told me, like, oh, get ready. But also because I read The Mortal Instruments, and none of the main characters in that died, so I assumed that all the Blackthorn children would escape unscathed, which clearly I was wrong. So, upsetting again. And then also I think having it be the last scene of the novel, it's because you really don't get any closure. And I've been thinking about that in reference or compared to Primrose's death in the Hunger Games or Fred Weasley's death in Harry Potter. And I think maybe because you don't see as much as their characters, it's not as upsetting for you. And maybe also because, well, I think in the Hunger Games case, Katniss's, like, the whole reason Katniss went into the Hunger Games was to protect Primrose, and I feel like it's similar in the sense that the whole reason that Julian does what he does is to protect his siblings and keep them all together. But I think Primrose's death was less impactful because it wasn't the last scene of the book. Like, Mockingjay kept going, and you have that closure at the end where you have, like, Katniss and Peeta, and they still get to live their lives and be happy, but you don't get that in this book. There's no closure, there's no, like, short little cute story at the end to keep you going. It's just Julian holding Livy's dead body, and then the reader's left to, like, sit with that. So I thought that just made it 10 times more impactful. So I really enjoyed that, and again, probably the best written character death I've ever read. So props to Cassandra Clare, well done. Thank you, and also, that was rough. That was a rough one. But yeah, so switching gears, I want to talk about some of the things that I did like about this book, because before reading the end, I probably would have told you that this book was just sweet and lovely and full of, like, little happy moments. So I wrote down some of my favorite moments, and I thought we'd discuss. Okay, so number 1, I really loved Christina and Mark's moments in Fairy, and then again in the London Institute. When they have their, like, first kiss in Fairy, it was really cute. And also, like, the fact that they're now, I guess, bounded to each other, or they were, and Magnus fixed it, but I thought that was really cute. I liked them together, and I was like, my ship is sailing. And then the scene in the ballroom when they're dancing together, and then Kieran comes in and he's like, no, like, let me show you how it's done. I appreciated that, and I know I also said in my last video that I don't like love triangles, but this is less of a love triangle and more of just, like, a regular triangle, or even, like, a circle. Because I feel like I'm also a little confused, like, are they just gonna become a throuple? I don't know. I guess, again, we'll find out in the next book. But yeah, I really liked all of those three's moments together. Oh, and then when they were also in Fairy, when Julian kisses, I don't know how to say it, it's like the whatever fairy creature can shapeshift, when he kisses that creature, and Emma sees, and then he thinks it's Emma. I really love that, and I also love that because it reminded me, so one of my favorite other series is the Lunar Chronicles, so if you haven't read those, like, short little spoiler here, but when Thorne kisses the Lunar who made herself look like Cress, that just, like, both of those scenes I love so much, and I don't know why, but I guess that's just, it just it makes my heart do like the thing, and I really love it. So yeah, I loved when Julian is kissing the shape-shifting fairy and he thinks it's Emma, and then he has like that moment of devastation where he realizes like, this doesn't smell like her, this doesn't feel like her, like this is, who is this? And then you have Emma watching him do this, and she's thinking like, oh, he's finally moved on, like I'm sad, but it's okay, like he's moving on, that's good. And then especially later when they're in the cottage and she's like, I saw you kissing that fairy girl and I thought maybe like you were getting over me, and he was like, I thought it was you, and she just goes, oh, and he's like, yeah, oh. I love that, so great. I don't know why I love those moments, but I really just do. Then I love when Diana tells off Zara, when Malcolm comes back and she's like, get behind us, you don't know what you're doing. And I would also like to say that I believe that Zara Dearborn is the Umbridge of the Dark Artifices series. Like, I sincerely hope she dies, and I want her to die more than I wanted Malcolm to die. I want her to die more than I want Annabelle to die. Like, I want her gone. I want her to suffer, or like I want her jailed. I truly hate her with a passion. She's awful, and I also blame her for Livy's death more than I blame Annabelle, because I think that they were in this whole situation because of Zara, and also because Zara was the one who's like, she's lying, and then yeah, I hate her. So if you would like to join, I don't know what the opposite of a fan club is, but I would like to start one where we just discuss our dislike for Zara Dearborn. So if anyone's interested in joining, hit me up, let me know, we'll start a club. Oh, and this also, so the next one isn't really happy, but it's when they go to rescue Kieran, and he thinks that Mark is like an angel, like welcoming him or like bringing him to his death, and he's just like, I'm so blessed to see like the one of the face I love as I die, and I'm like, oh, but then almost like, you're not dead. So it was good. And also just the way that Kieran speaks is beautiful, and I know it's like supposed to be like Shakespearean in like that sense, so I like it. I think it's cute. Oh, and then also everything about Emma and Julian in Fergus's room when they're in Fairy, and they're both like, we have to sleep in the same bed, and don't hug the other person, don't think about how close we are, and then they wake up hugging, and I'm like, and also when they had the scene earlier when they're like sleeping on the floor, like, or I guess it's the ground because they're outside, when they're sleeping on the ground in Fairy, and they wake up holding hands, and Christina sees them holding hands, and she's like, should I separate them? And she's like, I know I can't, we're just gonna ignore it. Yeah, so I really love that. Oh, and then I also like when everyone's flying with the Wild Hunt horses, like, out of Fairy. And I think especially the moment where Julian realizes how much, I think he says, hold on, I wrote it down because I really liked that quote too. Oh, here he goes. Yeah, when it says, for the first time he thought in wonder how much his brother must love him after all, to have given up the sky for his sake. I really love that, and I like that Julian and Mark's relationship is kind of growing a little bit more, and that I think Julian's starting to see Mark as more of a brother and less of someone that he needs to, like, another burden for him to take care of. So I really love that. Oh, and then I also love the accuracy of Kit remembering that Johnny used to say that Julian was the kind of person who could descend to hell and come out with the devil himself owing him a favor. So accurate. I love that. And I also liked the gentle inclusion of modern day politics and issues while still maintaining like the storyline and having it be essential to the storyline but not like overpowering the storyline, if that makes sense. Because when I was reading it, I was like, wow, this is really in touch with what's going on today, and I had to go and look at the publishing date to see when it was published, and it was published in 2017, so recent and, again, in line with things that are happening today. So I did like that, the inclusion of that too, and just, you know, the bigotry of people and how it affects others, and like the hatred that you see that's dividing the world. So I was like, thank you, Cassandra Clare, that was good. And then again, I made a note of this before I finished it, but when Livy tells Julian she knows about Arthur, and oh my god, even worse, yeah, when she's like, I just want to take care of people the way that you take care of people, and you're like, and it was sad, like, when I was reading it then, I was like, oh my gosh, Livy, like, I'm gonna cry, that's so sweet, and then reading it now, I'm like, I'm gonna cry, but for different reasons. Oh, and then also just, like, everything about Emma and Julian in the Cornwall cottage. Like, all of it was great. And then again, I really loved when Emma realizes that Julian thought that he was kissing her, and she has like that moment, like, and then I think that's before the riders come, but I also liked when they come after. Yeah, and then just everything about Emma and Julian in the Cornwall cottage. Again, I really liked when they have that moment of realization, like when Emma's like, you still love me, and then they fight about that, and then when Emma's like, I thought you were getting over me, like, I saw you kissing that girl, and she was like, I thought that was you. I really love that, and I loved when they come back after fighting the riders and they confess their real feelings for each other. It was just really beautiful. And then I think I liked when Julian says, like, the break my heart, I give you permission, break it to 1,000 pieces. It's like, ah. So I truly enjoyed that. And I also liked when Magnus comes in and he sees them together and he just is like, whatever, we can't deal with that right now, moving on. Yeah, and I really loved Alec and Magnus in this book too. They're the best, and I just like seeing them together, and I like that they do have like this happy little life of the two of them with their family. And then later, I love when Alec tells off Zara, because Zara's like, wouldn't you want to have like a nice boyfriend that you can grow old together with? And she's like, and he's like, no, just no. Yeah, I love Alec, and that scene was also amazing. Oh, and I loved hearing Diana's full backstory. I loved hearing why she can't run the institution, and I just love her character. And I also love in that scene when, like, after she tells Gwyn about her backstory, how he's just so accepting, and he's like, when I saw you, I thought you were the most incredible woman in the world, and I still think that. And then he's like, can I like give you a hug? And it was really sweet, and I really enjoyed that. And then I like the reunion when Emma and Julian come back from Cornwall, and specifically when Julian tells Mark that he did a great job watching the kids, and Mark's like, they almost died, like, I didn't do that good a job, and he's like, you kept them alive, sometimes that's all you can do. And I was like, wow, like, I love that their relationship is blooming into something beautiful, and again, something more than just what I felt like in the first book was Mark was more of a burden to Julian, and in this book he's more of a brother, so I really liked that. And then Ty's letter to Annabelle about how much he loves his family and how lucky he is to have a brother like Julian was, again, so sweet, and also so heartbreaking with the ending. And I'm really worried about Julian and Ty specifically. I mean, all of the siblings are obviously going to be not doing well after Livy's death, but I'm worried about Julian because I feel like he's going to take on the guilt of her death, and I'm worried about Ty just because I don't think Ty is going to be able to cope with Livy's death. And yes, he has Kit, but he's only known Kit for a few weeks, so I really don't, I'm worried for them in the next book. So again, we'll have to see how that goes, but otherwise I really liked that. Yeah, and again, so I'm worried about Julian, and I felt like I took his, like, in my last review of Lady Midnight, I was like, Julian is the best boy, the best book boyfriend you could ask for, like, he's incredible, I love him. And in this book, I feel like I took him more off of the pedestal I put him on, And I was talking about this with my friend after I finished the book, and she was like, Julian is a morally gray character. Like, he will do whatever it takes for his family, even if those things aren't morally correct. And I thought that was really interesting, and it does make me worry about him. And there were also some moments in here that I thought were some big red flags. Like, I think when he's in the cottage with Emma and he's just like angry, I think he like throws a mug or something, and I was like, red flag, red flag, red flag. And then also there's a scene towards the end when they're talking about the Seelie Queen's proposition and how she could break their bond, but their Parabatai bond, but it would break all the other bonds in the world too, like all the other Parabatai bonds. And Emma's like, we cannot do that, like definitely not, no, no, no. And Julian's like, I'm not gonna do it. And then he's like, maybe. And then especially when he said, like when he's talking about that and he's like thinking about it, and he says that, you know, Emma's so good natured and good hearted, but she doesn't understand the brutality of need. And I was like, sir. So I don't know. So I'm a little worried about his character. I think his character might become more morally gray in the next book. And then also when I was talking with my friend, she said that when she finished the book, like when it first came out, a lot of people were predicting that his character was going to become the villain of the story. But the way that, like, I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think she would have told me that that was even like a possibility if that's actually what happened. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, I really don't know. We'll have to see in the next book. So I can't wait to start this next book. So I've been getting my books from the library, which is why, you know, they have these fun stickers on them, just because it's cheaper, and I think that everyone should utilize their local library. But the next book, Queen of Air and Darkness, was taken out, or someone has it out currently. So I'd have to wait for them to finish the book, return it, and then I'd have to wait for my library to process it. And because of the pandemic, like, they've been taking a little while longer to get the books back out to you. And I was just like, I can't wait that long. So I broke my non-book buying streak, because I've been so good recently. And I went to Barnes & Noble, and I got this book. And it's so pretty. Like, ooh, look at it shine. And then this too. Like, I think I'm just gonna have to buy the other books in the series, because I've seen when they're all lined up next to each other and it does like a full little picture on the side. So I might have to buy the other ones now too. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I cannot wait. And again, if you enjoyed this little, oh, there we go. If you enjoyed this little discussion about this book, let me know. Let me know what you thought of it. Did it emotionally destroy you the way that it emotionally destroyed me? What were some things that you liked about it, that you didn't like about it? Do you agree with what I said? Do you have other like favorite moments that I left out? Let me know. Let's talk about it. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, night. This is your like nighttime YouTube binge. Like, congrats. I hope you go to sleep soon. Anyways, I hope you're having a great one wherever you are. And join me next time, and we'll talk about more books. Cheers!